Army? Imagine this. You just bought tickets to a concert in El Paso, Texas. This is not a BTS concert. This is another artist concert. You come with your friends, have the usual enthusiasm, buy merchandise, take a position in front of the stage, and get ready to enjoy the night. But then, the stage lights suddenly went out completely. The atmosphere turned pitch black. Thousands of spectators looked at each other, confused. And in that silence came an intro that was very familiar. Play a short audio snippet of the intro sound for 7 or standing next to you. Yes, armies all over the world. You heard right. That's Jungkook's voice. And that night, El Paso, Texas, a city that was probably never on anyone's radar as a BTS destination, witnessed one of the most legendary moments in K-pop history. Welcome back to the Idol K-pop Spotlight channel. And today we will discuss an incident that even hardcore armies did not expect beforehand. The moment when Jungkook and all the BTS members suddenly appeared on stage in El Paso and made that night something that anyone will never forget in their lifetime. Anyone present, grab your snacks. Army, this is long, this is epic, and this will make you cry and scream and not believe it in one breath. Before we get to the main moment, we need to talk about the context first, because this is very important to understand how extraordinary what happened that night. El Paso is a city on the western tip of Texas, directly bordering Mexico. The population is around 700,000 people. Not a small city, but also not New York or Los Angeles, which are usually magnets for world-class concerts. El Paso has its own character, a warm, dusty city full of strong community spirit. And the army there, they are fierce army. BTS fans in El Paso have become accustomed to the harsh reality. BTS concerts almost never come to their city. For years, they have had to be willing to travel long distances to Dallas, Houston, or even fly to LA just to watch their idols perform live. Tickets are expensive, travel is tiring, but they do it anyway, because that's what armies do. And that night, the night that all change started with a concert that was not a BTS concert at all. This is a concert by an American artist who is quite famous in the area. Thousands of spectators came. The venue was packed, festive atmosphere. Nobody suspected anything. But behind the scenes, something is brewing. Something that had been so neatly planned, so secretive, that even the crew only found out about it a few hours before the show started. Because Jungkook and the other 6 BTS members, RM, Jin, Suga, J-Hope, Jimin, and V are already in that city. Secretly. No announcement. No leaks to the media. The question is, why El Paso? Why that night? And how could it all happen without a single piece of information leaking to the public? The answer, like many things related to BTS, is deeper and more meaningful than we might imagine. This story actually begins several months earlier. RM's full name is Kim Namjoon. The leader of BTS is known as a person who really cares about community and meaningful moments. In an interview conducted some time after this incident, he revealed that the initial idea came from something very simple, an army from El Paso who sent them a letter. The letter was written by a 17-year-old woman named Maria, a teenager of Mexican descent who lives in El Paso. In her letter, Maria wrote about how BTS's music helped her get through the darkest times in her life. His father died when he was 14 years old. His mother struggled working 2 jobs at once to support their family. And in the midst of all these difficulties, Maria found BTS. He wrote about how he listened to Spring Day over and over while grieving, how the magic shop made him believe that there was a safe space for him even in a world that felt unfair, how he saved for 2 whole years from his part-time job at a fast food restaurant to buy tickets to a BTS concert in another city just to feel their presence at least once in your life. But he never managed to get the ticket, all sold out in minutes. The letter made RM silent for a long time. He shared it with other members. And in their group chats that are legendary among fans due to occasional leaks in their documentaries, they agreed that one day they should bring live music to the people who couldn't come to them. El Paso became a symbol of that. The planning process was incredibly rigorous. Their management team, HYB, works closely with local promoters and artists who will be performing that night. They requested a completely enclosed backstage space. The crew involved were asked to sign a very strict NDA non-disclosure agreement. Even BTS's travel schedule was made as if they were heading to another city. Their plane landed at El Paso International Airport at 3 in the afternoon. They were immediately taken in vehicles covered with dark film to the hotel that had been prepared. The sound check was carried out in a closed session at the venue at 2 in the afternoon, long before the audience was allowed to enter. And the most surprising thing? Not a single photo, not a single video was leaked. Not a single army detected their presence. In an era where social media can spread information in a matter of seconds, the fact that this entire moment was managed to be kept confidential until the very last moment is an extraordinary achievement in itself. But there is one person who knows. Maria. 2 days earlier, Maria received a message from a number she didn't recognize. The message was short in English and Spanish. You don't have to go far to find them. They will come to you. Maria thought it was a joke, but he came anyway. Okay, this is the part you've all been waiting for. And I ask you to really imagine this. Close your eyes for a moment if you need to, but don't, because you still need to read or hear this. Haha, the main concert had lasted about an hour. The audience was in full spirits. The performing artist has just finished one of his biggest hits. The atmosphere at the venue was hot and full of energy. And then the artist stopped in the middle of his banter session with the audience. He smiles at the audience in a slightly different way, like someone who keeps a secret and is very eager to reveal it. He said, and this audio recording was spread widely on TikTok and Twitter after that night. El Paso, tonight you have given me incredible energy. So I think it's time I give you guys something back. Something a little bigger than you might imagine. The audience cheered. They thought there might be another American guest star. Someone local, perhaps. A sweet little surprise. The stage lights went out. Total darkness. And then, in that darkness, there was the sound of footsteps. Lots of footsteps. 7 pairs of legs, if you want to count. Then an intro music started playing slowly, but getting stronger. The armies there who initially came without any expectations began to recognize the melody. It's dynamite. And when the lights come back on in one dramatic burst of colorful light, on stage, wearing casual clothes but still with an unconcealable aura, stood 7 people who have changed the world music industry. RM with his wide, calm smile. Gene with his trademark laugh, which immediately exploded when he saw the audience's reaction. Suga with his cool expression that occasionally cracks into a proud smile. J-Hope waves with undying energy. Jimin with his calm gaze full of affection. V. Kim Taeyong stands in a pose that always manages to freeze time. And Jungkook. Jungkook stood in the middle, microphone in hand, with a big smile that seemed to say, yes, this is real. We're here. What happened next could hardly be described in words. But I'll try it. Thousands of people in the audience, most of whom weren't even BTS fans, instantly turned into a sea of tears and screams. Some people fell to their knees. Some people hugged strangers next to them. Several people, this was captured in a video that has now gone viral, could only stand still with their mouths open and tears flowing freely without a sound. Armies there, they could no longer stand stably. And Maria, the 17-year-old girl whose letter set all this in motion, was in the 3rd row from the front, surrounded by her friends who had no idea what was going to happen that night. When she saw Jungkook standing on the stage, Maria told journalists who interviewed her later that she did not immediately cry. He didn't immediately scream. The first thing he felt was something he described as if time stopped for a moment, and everything I had ever felt over the past 3 years suddenly came to one point. Then he cried. So hard. BTS appeared with a set list that wasn't long, only about 8 songs, but each song was chosen very carefully. This is not a full concert. This is a gift, a lavish cameo in a city that never expected to receive an honor of this magnitude. They opened with Dynamite, a song that has become a symbol of hope and joy during the pandemic. and which always has the power to make anyone who hears it smile even in the worst conditions. Then they cut to Boy with Love, and this is where something extraordinary happens. J-Hope, with his unmatched energy, began to invite the audience who didn't even know the lyrics to sing along. He ran from one side of the stage to another, laughing out loud at the audience who were trying hard to follow the simple choreography he was demonstrating. This moment is one of the most frequently reposted because the clarity of joy radiating from J-Hope really cannot be faked. Then the atmosphere turned more intimate. RM took the microphone and spoke to the crowd in English, with the occasional attempt at a few words in Spanish, which made the crowd laugh and cheer as he talked about why they were there that night. He didn't mention Maria's name directly yet. It was previously discussed that Maria did not want her name to be mentioned in public. But RM talked about the letter they received, about how music knows no geographical boundaries, about how El Paso, even though it is far from the big stages of the world, is always in their hearts because ARMY is always present in their hearts. No one made a sound in the venue while RM spoke. Suga then performed a part of Trivia, seesaw solo that he rarely performs outside of official BTS concerts, and the atmosphere became so calm, so serene, that someone filming the video that night could be heard whispering to his friend, "This is real, right? Please tell me this is real." Jimin delivered a piece of filter that had the front row nearly exploding in collective hysteria. V, with his deep and warm baritone voice, performed Sweet Night without any musical accompaniment for the first few verses. Just the sound. And the 1,000+ people who heard it all fell completely silent. J-Hope does a short freestyle rap that mentions El Paso, directly El Paso in the house, Texas rise up, and the venue erupted again in excitement. Then it was Jungkook's turn. He performed his well-known solo song 7, but then stopped in the middle and looked at the audience with a smile that, according to many people present that night, felt like a hug. He said, "Tonight is not about us. Tonight is about you, about everyone who believed in us even when we were far away. This is for you." And he continued the song with a different intensity than usual. The performance closed with Spring Day, and no one could hold back the tears when the song's intro started. Spring Day has become a kind of requiem song full of hope for armies all over the world. A song about longing, about loss, about believing that beautiful things will return. Singing it with thousands of people who never thought they'd be in the same room as BTS, it's a kind of experience like no other. Within minutes of the performance starting, El Paso exploded in the media. Social videos recorded by onlookers began to circulate. TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, all platforms were flooded with content from that night. The hashtags #BTS El Paso, #Jungkook El Paso, and #BTT Surprise trended globally almost instantly. The responses from the global ARMY community can be divided into several categories that are both hilarious and heartwarming at the same time. First, there was a wave of armies who were crying hysterically because they couldn't attend and feeling extremely jealous in an affectionate way, of course. Comments like, "Why is El Paso not Jakarta?" or "I will move to El Paso right now" flooded all platforms. Second, there was a wave of sincere appreciation from all corners of the world who felt proud and moved to see how BTS chose to shock a community that is geographically often overlooked by the big entertainment industry. Third, and this is what moved the most hearts, there were thousands of comments from ARMY who shared their own stories similar to Maria's. People who also never managed to get tickets, which also saves for a long time, who also has to feel the joy of BTS from behind the scenes. The El Paso moment became a kind of collective catharsis for all those people. International media was not left behind. Rolling Stone wrote an article about how BTS impromptu performance in El Paso was a rare example of a musical group understanding that connection with fans goes far beyond big stadiums and expensive tickets. Billboard called it one of the most heartfelt moments in entertainment this year. In Korea, this news spread quickly and became trending #1 on Naver and various local news platforms. Korean fans who woke up in the morning and found this news on their feeds reported experiencing mini heart attacks, a term that is already very familiar among global armies. And in El Paso itself, The city suddenly became the talk of the world. The mayor of El Paso even issued an official statement thanking BTS for their surprise visit that brought tremendous pride to our city and the entire community here. I want to talk for a moment about why this moment is important not just for ARMY, but for anyone who has ever felt what it means to love something from a distance that feels impossible. BTS has long been known not just as a music group, but as a phenomenon that builds deep human connections. Their philosophy of love yourself is not just a marketing tagline. It is at the heart of how they view their relationship with fans. And the night in El Paso was living proof of that philosophy. They don't need to do this. They did not gain any significant financial benefit from this impromptu, ticketless appearance. There is no new album to promote. There is no business agenda that needs to be carried out. They did it because a girl in El Paso wrote a letter that touched the hearts of 7 concerned people. Just that. And in a world of entertainment that often feels cold, calculated, and commercial, where artist performances are always tied to branding strategies and revenue streams, there is something very refreshing and moving about actions that are born purely from empathy. RM once said in an interview that one of the things he fears most is getting so big that they forget why they started in the first place. Why do they make music? Who the music is addressed to. El Paso was their answer to that fear. For Maria herself, that night was something she described very simply when interviewed a few days after the incident. I felt like they saw me. Not me as a fan, not me as one of millions of people, but it was me, Maria, who 2 years ago sat on the bedroom floor crying and replaying Spring Day over and over because I didn't know what else to do. They came for that guy too. El Paso, Texas, a city in the far west. A night that no one out there planned. A stage that suddenly becomes a witness to a small history that feels very big for everyone who experiences it. Jungkook once said that he couldn't imagine his life without ARMY. That every stage he steps on, every song he sings, there are always faces he imagines behind the dazzling spotlights. That night in El Paso, he didn't have to imagine. They are there, real, within a distance that he could see with his own eyes. And that's the greatest beauty of this whole moment. For me personally, as someone who has followed BTS's journey for a long time, this is a reminder that behind all the greatness, all the records, all the countless achievements, there are 7 young people who still remember why they exist. They are there for us, for Mary, for all the Mariahs around the world who may have never met them in person, who may still be sitting on the bedroom floor on rough nights, who may still be playing BTS playlists because it's the only thing that feels like home. BTS is here for you, and El Paso proves that beyond words. But by being present, literally. Okay, ARMY and friends, that's our complete discussion about this unexpected moment that shook the world. If this video makes you cry a little, you're not alone. I also had to pause while writing this script. Don't forget to like this video if you enjoy it. Subscribe if you haven't joined this channel, family. There is lots of other interesting content that is currently being prepared. And leave a comment below. Tell me, what is the most memorable BTS moment for you personally? See you in the next video. Keep your spirits up, keep looking after each other, and remember you are never alone. Bora Heat, Purple Heart.